What's up YouTube, Capital G here, talking about the Kaiba Legendary Collection. We know everything that is in this set, so I'm going to talk about the full spoiler and then give my thoughts and opinions on this set as a whole from an investment standpoint, and then really just if I would buy the set or how good the set actually is, because I feel like maybe less than a week ago we were crowning this like the best set of the year. This was going to be amazing, and some of the rest of the set has not lived up to what we kind of expected from it, mainly because what Konami showed us coming out the gate, and then with their article on the official Yu-Gi-Oh blog, I mean, it was like fire. Everybody was just ready to throw money at the screen at that point, and it was really looking like this was going to be one of the best sets in, I don't know, like the last half decade or something like that. So for starters, let's go ahead and look at the breakdown of the full spoiler. Some of the cards we obviously knew about. We knew some of these things were going to be in here, like Card of Demise, and some of the powerhouses like Ash Blossom, Droll, and Lockbird. Some of them you pretty much could have assumed, like Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's not possible for Konami to make a Kaiba-themed collection and not have a couple of copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon, although they have basically, they have so many different artworks. The starter, the LOB, we've got the Blue Eyes World one, Blue Eyes Stone. I'm not exactly sure what that one is. Well, there's two Blue Eyes in particular, if I was playing a Blue Eyes, that I would probably lean towards, and that's the Blue Eyes in space, and then the Blue Eyes, the one that's kind of like sitting on top of the building. I think that actually might be my favorite one, although, man, Blue Eyes in space looks really, really good. But there are actually a lot of kind of throwback cards from the DM era, and while these are really good from a nostalgia standpoint, a lot of people are probably not going to be very excited about this. I'm talking about things like Judgman, Jinn, Vorse Raider, and I think it's specifically because every card in this, 105 card set is actually a holo. So, I mean, does anybody really fucking need a holo version of Jinn? I remember being a teenager and that card being like, very playable. It's like 1800 green Genie or some shit like that. Not exactly a card that players are looking for in 2018. We've got the White Stone of Legend, White Stone of Ancients. Those are still pretty good cards in my opinion. We've got Protector, Protector with Eyes of Blue, Master with Eyes of Blue. We got Sage with Eyes of Blue, Priestess with Eyes of Blue. A lot of cards with blue in the name. Dragon Spirit of White. That card has been reprinted already, but definitely still a good print. We got the A, B, and C pieces. I think that those are legitimate. I believe that all the A, B, C pieces are actually secret rare. We got Vampire Lord, which is a kind of a throwback card from the DM era. Burst Stream of Destruction. That one's actually pretty good. I mean, I don't think it's really playable. I believe if you control a Blue Eyes, it's a Regeki. It's kind of like the counterpart to Dark Magic Attack, which is a Feather Duster if you control a Dark Magician. Polymerization never seems to have enough reprints. Not sure if, I think that one, I'm fine with it, even though it just got reprinted in Fusion Enforcers and probably like 10 other sets last year because they printed a lot. Melody of the Awakening Dragon, that's an excellent reprint. Card of Demise we knew about, Fiend Sanctuary, and Enemy Controller. Silver's Cry is a good one for Blue Eyes players out there, but then we get some other ones that are just kind of like, why? Ancient Rules and Cost Down. Cost Down is a card that I thought was going to be really good when I was like 16. It's just trash, and it was always trash, even in the DM era. It was originally printed as an ultra rare, I want to say, out of like Labyrinth of Nightmare. I forget what set it was, but it was a bad card. I don't understand why they reprinted it. We got Shrink, Diffusion, and Spell Reproduction. Crush Card Virus is really interesting. Wish it hadn't been errated, but they do have the alternate art Crush Card Virus. That's actually really hype, especially for collectors. The alternate art Crush Card Virus looks a lot better in my opinion. Not saying the original one looks bad, but I just think that that one's a little better. Actually, a lot of virus cards in here. Full Force Virus, E-Virus. We've also got Interdimensional Transporter. I believe that that was used in the duel versus Ashizu on the blimp, like the top 8 of Battle City. Got Mirror Force reprint. Never can have enough Mirror Force reprints. Tyrant Wing. Some of these cards, again, are just really, really bad. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I kind of feel like some of the iconic cards are fine because, like, I don't think anyone's going to complain about having, like a Blue Eyes Ultimate or something like that. But when you get, like, a Vorse Raider, it's like, man, this card's not even a good collector. It doesn't even have, like, legit collector's value. So, all right, what else do we have? We've got Azure Silver Dragon, still a very playable card if you're playing Blue Eyes right now. I believe this is the first ever holo printing of Thunder Dragon. We've got Dark Arm, we know about that. Ancient Fairy Dragon Bills, those are amazing reprints. Same thing with Dragon Ravine. There are some Dragoonity cards in here. I'm not sure why they associated Kaiba with Dragoonity, but I guess they kind of just threw a bunch of like dragon stuff in here. Trade-in, Droll Lock, Ghost Ogre, Ghost Reaper, Ash Blossom, DD Crow. Those are like the power cards right there. Those are when you start talking about like the competitive players and the hand traps, the cards that people are going to like super geek out on. Even right now, I would definitely like to have some holo DD Crows. Like DD Crow is still a viable card. And I believe it was printed as like ultimate rare, but nobody wants to spend that much money on that. We've got Regeki, number 39, Utopia the Lightning. We have 3 Dragoonity cards, Dux, Legionnaire, and Phalanx. Those are fine. Maybe Dragoonity will get like a Link monster in the future. Terraforming and Fusion Sage, double summon, Terraforming, double summon, Card of Constance. Those are like legitimate cards for like the competitive meta. We saw double summon used in Spiral, like maybe 4 or 5 months ago, not even that long. So double summon can be a very good card. Same thing with the Monarch Stormforth if Monarchs ever get their cards back. Fiendish Chain and Chain Disappearance, solid cards. Just overall, Chain Disappearance was used a little bit to kind of counter like Zodiac Wrap here, but not as popular as it used to be like maybe 10 years ago. And then we get some other cards where it's just like Parrot Dragon, Giant Red Sea Snake. These are like normals. Warrior Elimination, which I believe destroys all warrior monsters on the field. These are old school cards that no one's ever going to play again because we have Regeki and Dark Hole. Delinquent Duo, depending on if this card would ever get unbanned, it could actually become a very incredible reprint. We have a White Hole called Of the Grave and Anti-Regeki. I don't really get these ones at all, man. This is just... This is 100% nostalgia. These cards have always been terrible. If you don't know what they are, they're basically cards like if your opponent activates Dark Hole, destroy all their monsters or negate it or something. You know what I mean? It's like these are cards that require your opponent to activate one specific card like Regeki, Monster Reborn, or Dark Hole, and then you get to like stop those cards. Just Desserts. Oh, actually, that's really good for Chainburn players. I believe Just Desserts has never actually been printed as a holo. Okay, that's actually pretty good for Chainburn players out there. Goddess of Sweet Revenge. I didn't really like the card that much. I didn't even do a video on it. King of D actually is pretty decent. And then the last are kind of like the new Kaiba cards. But so this is really an interesting set because I think that what Konami showed us was pretty much the best of what they had to offer. And when Konami first talked about the Kaiba collection, they came out pretty much swinging. They talked about Card of Demise and Droll and Lockbird. They talked about Ghost Ogre. And just off those 3 cards alone, I think a lot of people started opening up their wallets. And people were, very excited about it. I was too. And then when we got the second batch of information, that's when Konami was people were throwing money at the screens. They were talking about Ash Blossom and Bills and just like Winter Cherries and whatnot, and at that point we were just like, oh my god, this is like the holy grail of cards, Terraforming and Regeki and stuff like that. So when we learned about those, it looked like this set was going to be, dare I say, even maybe like one of the 2 or 3 best sets ever. And that's simply because we only knew about 20 of the cards in the set, but there were still so many other cards to be named. And the problem is so many of the cards are basically just kind of filler. I'm not even talking about cards that Blue Eyes players will appreciate. I'm talking about cards like Judgman. Who honestly wants a Vorse Raider in 2018? Like, who's getting excited about getting like a secret rare copy of Jinn, the Magical Genie, or something like that? Don't get me wrong, the Blue Eyes cards can be fine because obviously there's a lot of enthusiasts out there who still enjoy the deck, no hits, even if you're just a Kaiba fan. But some of these cards are like super outdated, and it makes me kind of wonder if there have been people who are going to be turned off by this, because another thing that's very important to talk about is the fact that from what I'm hearing, John Moore talked about this in a video, Ash Blossom is actually supposed to be short printed, which is like really bad. Multiple sources are claiming that, John Moore, people are talking about it on Reddit, Italian Yu-Gi-Oh! And don't get me wrong here, I'm not saying that Ash Blossom is like the be all end all, because as soon as we knew Ash Blossom was in this set, we pretty much assumed that it was going to be the most wanted card out of this set. And there are definitely some other good things like Demise and, bills that you can pull out of here, Regeki, and you can be like, damn, I definitely feel pretty good about that. Like if this person bought 3 packs and you pulled this, I think you feel pretty good about it. You got a Regeki, and then everything else is just kind of like icing on the cake, as Regeki is generally like a $25 card. However, it really kind of feels like the stuff that we learned about early was pretty much the ceiling of this set, and it really feels like everything else is just kind of like filler. And I feel like Konami lost a little bit of the competitive players from that, because the competitive players were excited about the cards that they revealed. It's just they're not going to be excited about some of these other filler cards, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Thunder Dragon might actually be kind of nice because it's never had like a hollow printing, but when you get a Judgment and a Vorse Raider with that, like, then you're just kind of like, well, what the hell is the rest of this crap? Or, you get a Sage with Eyes of Blue and what's it called, a White Stone of Antiquity. Those are definitely good cards, but then when you get a cost down, it's like, come on, man. I feel like a lot of this set could have been a little better. They could have thrown in other things, like the cards like Terraforming are cards that I think that they should have kind of maybe went for. Cards that had been reprinted before, maybe even if they were cards that had been printed a bunch of times, but maybe they could have printed them in a holographic form. Like Solemn Judgment would have been a great example of a card to just print as like an ultra rare, or maybe even something like Torrential Tribute, as that just came off the ban list. Torrential Tribute been reprinted dozens of times, but it would have been just another good $3-4 card for the players to get excited about. I feel like the competitive players might check out on this as far as just buying like actual boxes of this, or like sealed packs of this, and I feel like it's become more of a casual / collector's product, even though I think it'll do really good in the secondary market when it comes to like buying singles, because now I feel like it's just too much of a crapshoot, especially with Ash Blossom being potentially short printed. I think it's too much of a crapshoot. This is coming from somebody who needs 3 Ash Blossoms, 3 Drolls, and 3 copies of Ghost Ogre, because I wasn't kidding in my other videos. I literally sold all my hand traps because I was like, oh man, we're all gonna be swimming in Ash Blossoms. Why not just get rid of mine now? Like, look at this. I mean, if these were your packs, would you be satisfied? Like, I don't think you would be. There are some decent cards in here, but nothing that is just all world good. There's no Bills, there's no Card of Demise, there's no Regeki or, the Ash Blossom. Same thing kind of here. It seems like if you don't get one of the cards that we knew about before, seems like you really didn't get a ton of value. So yeah, very interesting how this set really went from like amazing to it's just an okay set, because I don't know, I feel like Konami put a little too much filler in there. Whatever you guys think, you let me know in the comment section below. Maybe you guys still think that this is an amazing set. Also, if Ash Blossom is actually short printed, how do you feel about that? Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos.